Happy Friday, everybody. Here we are. How's it going, everyone? It's been a second since I feel like it's been like ages since I streamed, but it wasn't that long ago. But I did miss a few times at the beginning of this week because I was out of town, in all transparency. So yeah, I couldn't get to streaming. Kind of gave you guys the heads up about that end of last week, which is why I wanted to finish the pencils on this Eisner study before the weekend hit. But yeah, we were caught up in a flurry of some family stuff that carried into the beginning of this week. Got back into town Wednesday night. And so I missed my Wednesday comics. And yesterday I was just getting my bearings, getting back into the schedule of things. Swung by the store. There was a couple books I thought I was going to pick up, but one of them was out of one of them I wanted a specific cover. There's the new book by Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossmo called The Moon is Following Us. Really looking forward to that book. But I actually ordered a special cover, cover B. I think it's like a wraparound cover, which I wanted. And that one didn't come into the store that I was going to pick it up in. Tempted to pick just cover A. I'm not a big variant cover fan, but that one just felt really cool for an issue 1. So apparently, according to my store, that should be coming in next week. So I didn't get that book. And then, what was the other book that I was thinking I was going to pick up? Oh, X-Men... Just plain X-Men number 4 came out this week. They had a guest artist. I flipped through it. I wasn't too excited about that. And the plot itself, the story itself, wasn't strong enough where I was like, I'm going to sit through a guest artist, which is a funny comic thing to kind of observe it just in real time of like, if I'm really into a book, and then whatever it is that's holding me to that book or making me pick up that book and buy it, if one of those factors changes, whether it's the writer or the artist, it's always interesting to see, am I going to keep sticking with it? And there's a few books that I have and a few books I haven't. Usually if I'm into the art, and the art is the big reason why I'm picking up a book, and that changes and I'm not as into the guest artist, I'm quick to be like, man, I'll just skip it. And I did that for G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, the last kind of run that I was following on that. And then now with this X-Men book, I was like, I'll pass. So how fickle we can be as comic book fans, how fickle we can be with what we pick up or what we don't pick up or what we plunk down as far as our money. So interesting to kind of process through that. So anyway, long story short, I didn't pick up any comic books Thursday or catch up on anything that I missed on Wednesday. So I didn't have anything to do a My Wednesday Comics about anyway. But the one thing that did come in while I was out was I got a package. Woo! So I mean, the main focus of this stream, as the title suggests, is I'm going to start inking, which I'm very, very excited. Start inking that Eisner page. But I did get this package in. And I was like, oh, I can unbox it to kind of whet the appetite, get people excited about comics in general and just looking at comics. And then we can get into the inking. I did spend part of yesterday, scanning in the pencils, going to Kinko's, leveling stuff out. Oh, my cat just walked in. Hello, buddy. And getting all that stuff ready and prepped for today. So that was fun. And everything in me wanted to start inking yesterday, but I couldn't in the evening. So anyway, here we are. We're going to be inking today. We're going to be unboxing today. And we're going to be catching up because I haven't seen a lot of you guys in a while. And who was the first one? I think this is the first time Shanthan Jetty Art has been the first in my stream. This is momentous. What's up, Shanthan Jetty Art? How you doing? I haven't played that in a long time. But it's good to see you. Shanta and I were texting a little bit over the weekend, just checking in with each other and relating as dads and husbands and non-comic stuff. So good to see you, man. Shanta said, I just woke up. So the timing worked out. Amazing. Cranberry Langer's in the house. What's up, Cranberry?
This is a cranberry full of power.
Cranberry, I've been noticing. I have not been able to watch, unfortunately, because it's been super busy. But I've been noticing you've been live streaming drawing, which is excellent. I'm so excited that you're doing that. How's that been for you? Has it been comfortable? You figuring things out? Your setup? It's a lot of things, right, to kind of keep track of. But good on you for trying it out and trying the whole weird drawing while you're streaming thing. It's a thing. And it's always something you gotta like prep for. Even as I was preparing for this stream, I was like, and you guys know me, I'm always like kind of running in my brain of like the steps, and it just takes a little bit. It's like going to the gym after you haven't gone for a few days and like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. So hopefully today will be like that and I won't fall flat on my face, because this is like, we are heavy lifting today with Will Eisner, inking Will Eisner. We are heavy lifting. This isn't cardio. This isn't light weights. This is heavy lifting. So I'm a little nervous, but it should be fun. Should be good. Cranberry Landers, happy Friday. Awesome. Happy Friday. I'm very excited that it's a Friday. Cranberry Landers is on his lunch. He'll probably be popping in and out. Who else is here? What's up, Adam?
This is Adam.
Hey.
Hey. How are you doing? We did not have a Wednesday Comics, as I just explained it. It was unusual. I thought I was going to pick up at least one book or something, but I didn't. So, them's the breaks. That's how it goes. The particular store that I was going to pick up, The Moon is Following Us. It's funny. Oh, this is kind of an interesting topic. It's funny to see what stores carry variant covers and which stores don't. And some stores really lean into that, and some stores kind of shy away from it. And in this particular case, the store I was going to pick up The Moon is Following Us. They don't really carry many variant covers from what I've noticed. And a lot of it is because of this kind of ordering, tracking. People want cover C and it doesn't come in, and they're upset because cover A and all the shipping stuff. So it sounded like, at least from the owner I was talking to, that kind of complication, he doesn't really like dealing with it, and who can blame him? There's a lot to track anyway. So he just kind of focuses on the standard cover A for releases. But if you request a variant cover, he'll order it, but he doesn't carry them just like outright. And then there's other stores, a couple other stores. I know Frank's store, Amazing Fantasy, and Mission Comics. They tend to order all the variants when books come out with them. So sometimes if I can't find it at Comics Experience, which was the first store I was talking about, I'll swing by those other stores and see if I can grab a variant I'm looking for. But they do tend to sell out faster because there's collectors who are pretty diehard about variants. But what's up, Timmy Mello? How you doing? Nice to see you again. Happy Friday. Are you ready for some inks, some unboxings? This is going to be a good one. It'll be a fun stream today. Hopefully I don't get interrupted. Might have somebody coming by that might interrupt it. If it does, we'll figure out on the fly. But I think a morning stream on my coast is going to work out just fine. So it's going to be good. Doing work and life, or whatever other excuse you can come up with. Yeah, that stuff just, whatever, life, come on. It's all about streaming. Forget this life, work stuff. What is up, Tim Deere? What are you doing in here? Happy Friday. Tim Deere is a good friend of mine that I have not seen on chat before. So Tim, what are you doing, my brother? True brother of mine. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I hope you can watch this stream while you're working, and I hope it entertains you. This is really weird. Different walk of life coming in. It's almost easier to talk in front of strangers. So it's weird that you're here. I see Tim on a weekly basis, so I'm so glad you're here, though. It's really good to see you, Tim. I hope you enjoy this. Give me some pointers when I see you next. Adam says, I got cover A and B for Moon is Following Us. Awesome. So I think cover B is the wraparound cover. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. And that's the one that I really wanted. I thought the cover A looked great, but a wraparound cover, come on. And I believe it's DWJ, so yeah, that's the one that I was eyeing, and apparently Comics Experience won't be getting it until next week. So fingers crossed that'll come in, because I do want to read that book. Adam says he'll stop with Transformers when DWJ leaves the writing. Is he? I haven't heard anything about if he is going to end the writing on that. I mean, he just is right off of winning an Eisner for his work on there, so hopefully he sticks around for a little longer. But yeah, I think that is a particular case with Jorge Corona joining in as artist, where, okay, Daniel Warren Johnson's leaving, am I going to stick around? And then I saw Jorge Corona's art, and I'm like, all right, I'll stick around. And since DWJ is staying as the writer, worth it to hang on for me, because I really loved his writing on that. So yeah, but it is kind of tenuous. It's like all the different plates have to be perfect for you to go, well, at least for me as a collector, for me to go, yes, I will put my own money for this and enjoy this and collect this. And when one of those plates stops spinning, it's like, I'm surprised at how fickle I am with my purchases. There's maybe been one or two titles I've actually stuck with more due to an artist change. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yes, I know how it goes. I'm waiting on an order of the Doctor Doom collection by Cantwell and LaRocca at my local comic shop. Cool. I don't think I've read that one. I am familiar with Greg LaRocca's work, but not Cantwell. So that's cool. That's awesome. Would love to hear about that. I know Doctor Doom ramping up with the Avengers arc, the movie arc of Doctor Doom, all that kind of stuff. They're ramping up, and I think it's about time, right? Like when the first Fantastic Four movie came out, everybody was expecting Doctor Doom. And I can't even remember, was it Fantastic Four, that first one? I know the second one was like Silver Surfer, right? Which was kind of weird. But the first one, and then they did the new one. Well, not the new one, but the one with Michael B. Jordan. Then they had Doctor Doom in it, and it totally fell flat. So yeah, I think Doctor Doom is due to have a great movie presence. And they cast Robert Downey Jr. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's great, but we'll see. We'll see if they can pull it off. Cranberry Lander says, I've just been building up my drawing hand again. It's awesome, Cranberry. I love that you're just jumping in and doing it. That's all it is, man. It's like 80% is just doing it, and 20% it's like figuring it out how to do it. So I'm glad you're doing that. It's comfortable. The talking while drawing is a bit more difficult. It is, always is, but you will get the hang of it. I have faith in you. I tend to want to draw longer, Cranberry says, but people would probably lose interest watching a novice go through the basics again. You never know, I think just kind of follow your gut, and you'll naturally hit end points for different reasons, right? Sometimes it's like, well, I'm done drawing, or sometimes maybe nobody's in the chat, or sometimes you get sleepy depending on how late you go, or sometimes you get interrupted. So it really depends. I wouldn't think about it too much. I would just do what feels right for you. Tim Deere says, shout out to Cranberry Langers. That's right. Tim, I hope you start meeting this community, or getting acclimated with this community. They're a great community, and I know I've talked to you a little bit about YouTube and my whole experience building this, but you'll be amazed at all these guys here in the chat. Timmy Mello says, I just set Cranberry's channel to priority on notifications. Hopefully I'll catch the next. Check that out. Priority. Well done, Timmy Mello. Faithful fan. That's awesome. That is awesome. That's what I want to hear. Get some garlic and an emergency steak in case shot. Yeah, Shanth the vampire, look out. But Shanth would probably take that garlic and, make a pizza out of it. But Shanth he is everywhere all the time. That's all I got to say with that. Tim Deere says, Poppy's with me. Aw, that warms my heart. I love you, Poppy. I don't do this often. The dumb heart symbol, but I love you, Poppy. And so happy. I'm really embarrassed now. Poppy, you would be actually great on stream. You would be a great YouTuber. But I love that you're watching, and I love you guys. So thank you so much for being here. Doctor Doom is my favorite Marvel villain. I agree. He is top tier, and I don't think he's been. I mean, we're talking like. Let's see here. Like, Doctor Doom. Let me flip here because I hate the. Whoop! There's my package. Whoop! There's my keyboard. I hate the blur. Wait, where is this shadow coming from? Is that from here? Sorry, I didn't check that shadow. Anyway, yeah, like come on, like this was the Doctor Doom I grew up with, and this is the Doctor Doom we want to see, right? Like this, I know he's gone through different iterations and different storylines, but this is the Doctor Doom I want to see, because even in this time period, like the Kirby, Stan Lee, Doctor Doom, he was such a nuanced villain. Even his powers, his kingdom that he lived in. Oh, wait, is this the issue? Oh no, that's not the issue. Sorry. Just kind of had a flashback. I don't know if you guys remember one of my streams I was talking about one of the very, very first Kirby comics I was exposed to, which was one of the very first comics I was exposed to. And this reminded me of it when I just flipped through it. And I haven't flipped through this collection in a long time. But anyway, this Doctor Doom, yeah, he just had, like, he was like fantasy and sci-fi and, where he was like this dictator of this country and lived in a castle, but then had doom bots, like all that kind of stuff. And he was super smart, but he had technology and was the counterpoint to Reed Richards. All of that, like, was so good he wasn't such a one-dimensional villain for this time period. And I'll be honest, I don't know many of the more recent Doom plots, which they will probably be drawing from. Maybe that's the collection that you're talking about, Timmy Mello. But yeah, I just want to see this. And him being like with the mask and you never saw his face. It kind of played into the like Man in an Iron Mask, that storyline, that mystery of that. It was great. It's really great. So I do hope that Doom gets his due and is represented really well in the upcoming movies and hopefully comics as well. So it'll be great. Doom was in 3 Fantastic Four films, though the first incarnation wasn't as bad as we remember. Really? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't have very fond memories of any of those Fantastic Four movies. None of them really. Like, I wanted so badly for them to be good, and they just... I think it had to do with directing and casting, probably. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about special effects, but the directing and the casting, I felt like never was great in any of those movies. Mark's Music Obsession is here. What up, Mark? Long time no see. How are you doing, Mark? I just saw... oh yeah, on X. You had posted a couple pictures and a video, I believe, of a walk on a dock with a heron and Maggie. Looked beautiful. I know it's probably really hot, but because I wasn't feeling the temperature, I'm like, oh, that looks so relaxing. I would love to just sit out there and watch the sunset. So beautiful. Great to see you. Hit that like, peeps. Thank you, Mark. The struggle of being consistent as an artist. Yeah, it's a real struggle. Shant, you still lurking in the shadows? Shant was here. Look at that. He's here. He is here. Mark's Music Obsession saying, afternoon to my friend Tim Deere. That's right. Welcome, Tim, and his wife Poppy watching right now. Love those guys. I've known them for a very long time. I've known Shant for over 30 years. I haven't known Tim and Poppy as long, but I have known them very, very long. Almost as long. So weird that you guys are watching right now. I love it. Shant, I only made like 40 minutes of Pizza Live, then I passed out. Cranberry Langer says, I remember reading those. Speaking of Pizza Live, I didn't get to catch the last one you did, Shant, but for those of you who don't know, Shant does a stream on, I believe, Thursday nights, Pizza Live, where he watches a film, an old classic film, and they just watch it all the way through. The commentary in the chat, the peanut gallery is amazing and really fun, and just dissecting those movies in real time is amazing. So catch it out if you haven't yet. Catch it if you haven't yet. The English. Cranberry, did you finish that duck? I'm assuming that's something he was drawing. I hope. My favorite FF villains are Annihilus. Ah, yeah, he's cool. And I think his name's the Alchemist. I don't remember the Alchemist as much. I love Doctor Doom. Love Galactus. If you can consider him a villain, I'd consider him a villain. Yeah, Doctor Doom was the best because he was such a counterpoint to Reed Richards. To all of them, actually. And he was 1 against 4 and seemed to always best them. So they got to get him right this time. The funny thing is that RDJ does look like the modern look for an unmasked Victor Von Doom. That's what I've heard. And I also heard that some of the more current plots have ties to Tony Stark as Von Doom. Am I wrong about that? So yeah, maybe it'll all work out. And I think as an actor, he can be great. It's just that there's so much baggage and history with him as Tony Stark. So we'll see. We'll see if he is able to like break out of that. But yeah, as an actor, I think he could be awesome. Cranberry Landers going back to work. Ciao for now. See you later, Cranberry. Pop back in when you can. We'd love to have you here. When the 616 and Ultimate Universes came to... Okay, this is out of my knowledge of comics, but here we go. When the 616 and Ultimate Universes came together, it's Doom that saves the day. It's an amazing story. All right, I'll have to check it out. I'm so out of it with Ultimate Universes. All the Ultimate stuff, a lot of it. That was when I wasn't keeping up with comics as much. I know it's a huge gap, but yeah, I've got to catch up somehow. Hey, Katie. What's up, Katie?
Say cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
No, a cup of tea.
There's a cup of tea for you, Katie. How are you doing? You've been streaming a lot lately too. What is it that I missed? I like I said, I've been so busy this weekend and into the new week, and I've been out of YouTube for a lot, like even watching anything. So, but I did notice like you get notifications when people you subscribe post stuff, and I'm like, oh, whoa, Cranberry posted like 2 or 3 streams I missed, and Katie. So you guys are just cranking it. I love it. It's awesome. Build up the community, build up your channels, have fun while you're doing it, put out good content. I'm here for all of that. Timmy Mello says that new Ultimate Doctor Doom is incredible, and the truth is that this version is yes. Who everyone thanks to his evil variant, the Maker. Yes. So yeah, the connection between Reed Richards and Doctor Doom and him being Doctor Doom. Yes, I love that. That's amazing. So, like I said, Doctor Doom is a complicated villain and can be really awesome. I think people just have to, I just hope, and I have faith in the Russo brothers that they will nail it. So, fingers crossed. Smash that like button, subscribe. Almost to 300. We are almost to 333 subscribers, which is banana sauce. If I can make up a new word. We're just gunning for 500 at this point. We're going to leapfrog over 400 and we're going to gun for 500 because the speed at which we turned the corner from, I'd say, 250 to 300 was very rapid from what I was expecting. And so I'm just like, all right, well then let's just ride the momentum and shoot for the stars and hit 500. That would be amazing. So, but thank you. Thanks for the reminder, Shanth. Like button, subscribe, that all helps. And let's just convince YouTube that we're worth the extra effort of promotion. Tim Deere says, we're rooting for you, Rock. We'll be your rockerazzi. Awesome. Tim, I love that. I love that expression. Rockerazzi. I'll buy that. There was a storyline for a while that Tony and Doom were half brothers. Yeah, this is all vaguely familiar for me. And I feel like kind of a loser not being up to speed on this kind of stuff. So I need to really sit down and figure it out. Maybe the series that Timmy Mello is waiting for. Maybe that's a good place to start. But I've been meaning to reread that Fantastic Four Epic Collection just to get back into Kirby and the love of that time period, because those stories are great. But I do need to catch up and figure out where the heck Marvel Universes is. I saw that the new Ultimate Spider-Man just got collected. I think the first 5 or 6 issues. So I'm debating whether to pick that up because a lot of people said that storyline's great. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Shanth is headed toward me being the first official member. Nice. Of your channel? That would be amazing. I'll be a member of your channel. Katie's coming to the States. What? No kidding. Be harassing Mark for 10 days. What? You guys are connecting in person? Oh my gosh. The timelines are going to implode. Then you gotta stream, Mark. You gotta stream, or Katie, stream from your phone. You guys, oh my gosh, you have to do it. That would be amazing. I think the next time that I see Shanth in person, which we are due, my friend, of connecting in person, we've got to do an in-person stream. That would be amazing. That would be so cool. So yeah, Katie, Mark, oh my gosh, please, you guys do something. Or if you're not streaming, you got to record a video and post it on X or whatever. I would love to see that. That would be amazing. I hope you have fun. That was great. That's awesome. The Art and Times of Jay Ryan. Doom has no equals.
It's actually a really good sculpt.
Yeah, Doom's a good sculpt too. What's up, Art and Times of Jay Ryan? Doom does not have any equals. And they got to do him right. They got to do him right. Stop floundering with the Doom. Get the dude right. New series is amazing. Pete actually gets a win. Awesome. Okay, here's another vote for that new Ultimate Spider-Man series. Rocky, me, the first member of your... Oh, yes. No, Mark, I know. You've got that slot. You're you're on the wait list, the Yelp wait list for first in line, and I love it, man. Nothing would make me happier for you to be the first member of my channel. So we're working towards it. We're pushing towards it. Like I said, road to 500. Let's get there. Let's do it. We can get there. We are due. We are. It's been too long. I have not seen you in person for a long, long time. Although arguably, we talk more via text and stream than we do when we weren't. No, that's not true. We saw each other quite a bit in person, but we are due. It's going to be fantastic, and I'll try and stream. That would be so cool. That would be so cool. I don't think the internet will be able to handle it. What's up, Haldir6480? How you doing, man? We are having a Friday stream here where we're going to do an unboxing. I'll get to that in 1 minute or so. And we're going to start inking this EISNER page. Get ready for a lot of fumbling, a lot of whiteout, a lot of cursing. because it's gonna be all of that. But okay, let's get to the unboxing and get that out of the way. Everybody's saying hello, hello, Haldir 6480. Awesome to see you. Where's the chat ninja? Where's she? Where's Emo Trash? Where are those people? Is she in class? John, come on. Somebody tell me. Are they streaming? Is somebody else streaming? That's okay. We need more nerds to come hang out. Let's do it. Let's do it. Nerds galore. All right, cool. So this is something that came in while I was out of town, and I'm pretty sure I know what this is. But this will be inspiring. Well, if I'm pretty sure what it is. This will be inspiring to what I'm doing today. Make sure nothing surprise here. Yep. Okay, so you guys can blame Shelby, American Discord, for this one, for this purchase. Essential X-Men, Volume 8. So, a lot of confusion here because I don't know how many times Marvel, or even DC, but I think Marvel is more of a culprit of collecting different runs. And I love it. It's awesome. But there's so many different versions. There's like epic collections and ultimate collections and omnibus collections and hardcover collections and softcover collections and essential collections. And I never knew what was it. I was like, I thought I already had some of this collected. I have this, a lot of this. So this run is a lot of Inferno, Uncanny X-Men 229 to 243, Annual number 12, X Factor 3639. So the big reason why I love this run is it's like the Mark Silvestri, Chris Claremont, a good chunk of that run of Uncanny X-Men, which, as many of you have known and have followed me on stream, that's one of my favorite times as a kid, and one of my favorite comics as a kid, which got me into comics, was Uncanny X-Men this time. So I have these in so many different collections. I have, I have a lot of these in different pieces, right? So I have Inferno, which they collected one of these, it's the collection, but this is like Uncanny X-Men, this is X Factor, this is New Mutants. I have Fall of Mutants collection. This was an older collection, collecting 224 to 226. So it came up a little bit before this, but Fall of the Mutants was one of my favorite crossover events in X-Men. Amazing. This one has the Silvestri, X Factor, Walt Simon X Factor, Brett Blevins, New Mutants run. Chris Claremont was writing the whole thing. So this is amazing. And total side note, Frank from Amazing Fantasy left a comment on one of my posts. He was asking me what is my favorite X-Men issue of all time. And I can't even answer that. I have to think about that, because that's a really, really great question. What is my favorite X-Men book of all time? But it's going to be somewhere in here, like, for sure. So yeah, so I already have these collections, but this one, again, blame Shelby, because he did a unboxing of this on his channel. And the thing that makes this amazing is it's black and white without the colors. And the colors were great. It's on this like newsprinty kind of paper, which is not the greatest for archival purposes. But to see Mark Silvestri inked by Dan Green artwork in black and white is so awesome. And they sold these for relatively pretty cheap because they printed it on this lower quality paper. They didn't have to print it in color. So I think it was just like a production thing. But for like a geeky artist like myself who loves to see black and white art, and this is why I was saying this is kind of inspiring for what I'm about to do today. To see it in just the ink form is great. I highly recommend watching Shelby's stream about this particular collection. They don't make these essential collections anymore, so I had to dig around for it on eBay. But some of the essential collections that they did, they just took the colored artwork and just made it all grayscale, so you would see like the tones in that. But in this particular volume, number 8, they just printed the black and white art, which is clean, and it looks amazing. Like, seeing this kind of stuff, just inks, is amazing and so inspiring. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see this. Even though I have many, many versions of these books, I don't have this like black and white version. I wish they would release like an artist edition of this stuff, but I'm sure it's pretty impossible to collect all this artwork. Here's a Rick Leonardi fill-in issue. And again, like we were just talking about, like when there's a guest artist, I remember when these issues came out, I'm like, wait, Silvestri's not drawing this? I'm like, who's this Rick Leonardi guy? But I really like the story enough to accept Leonardi's artwork over Silvestri. But Leonardi is a really, really good artist too. And I appreciate his artwork so much more as I'm older. So yeah, it's great. I guess as an editor, finding that right fill-in artist, both in availability and style, is a big deal. Man, this stuff is so good. Here, let me go to a bigger view. Yeah, this stuff is really, really nice. I love Silvestri's faces, and Dan Green as an inker. So this is, I mean, this is really interesting. He would be a fantastic inker to study as I'm doing master studies, because I was more familiar with Dan Green's ink work before Scott Williams came around with Jim Lee. And I find that Dan Green's ink work was a lot more gestural and loose and free and open, if that makes any sense. And Scott Williams' stuff was a little bit more technical, tighter. I mean, it was awesome, but there's something about how Dan Green inked Marc Silvestri that just worked. Like, the two of them, I mean, can you guys even see this? Look how like gestural that is, but it's all there. It's beautiful. And like, that is not easy to do, to keep the energy from the pencils in ink form is not easy to do. Dan Green himself was a great artist. He was a painter, so I think that kind of fed into it. But like, you can see the difference here. So for example, Rick Leonardi here being inked by Terry Austin, I believe. Yeah. Who was a lot more technical. Terry Austin inked Arthur Adams quite a bit. It was a great inker. A lot more technical, but it's like not as loose and fancy free as Dan Green's inks. Still good, still awesome, but it's just different. And the inker, so much so, which I love this time period and preceding time periods, when you have the right combo of inker with penciler, it can take that comic book page to another level. And like Terry Austin with, I mean, Leonardi is great. Terry Austin with Arthur Adams was like a different level. Marc Silvestri with Dan Green, that was my favorite pairing. I love Marc Silvestri with the other inkers that he used later. Like, I know Scott Williams worked with him a bunch, and Matt Banning, Bat, went by Bat, Danny Meeke, all those guys all had great runs with Marc Silvestri, but there's something about Dan Green's stuff. Here's Arthur Adams with Terry Austin. Like, that pairing is beautiful. And I remember as a kid just like studying who was paired up with who and how that changed the book. Because sometimes you would have Marc Silvestri. Look at this. splash. That's awesome. Oh man, I love that. Sometimes you would have the penciler, but then a different inker, and it would change things. Wow, this is classic Silvestri right here. This kind of layout. So exciting. But yeah, these like gestural ink lines here. Man. I love Dan Green. Dan Green passed away not too long ago. I think within the last year he passed away. Which is a shame. I feel like he was never given the credit for the amount and the body of work that he did. I think this is a different inker right here, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like Joe Rubinstein or something. Yeah, Joe Rubinstein, which is a lot more brushy and a little less stylized than Dan Green. But you can see it's different. Beautiful Marc Silvestri faces, but different inks made a different result. This is my favorite Marc Silvestri. I mean, he's good. He's just consistently good. But this is my favorite Marc Silvestri. All right, I could get caught looking at this forever. Who's the inker on this Rick Leonardi? Dan Green. Okay, cool. So check this out. This is Dan Green inking Rick Leonardi. And then we saw, oh boy, can I find it? This is P. Craig Russell inking Rick Leonardi. My camera's not the greatest on this setup for you to really see, I feel like, the details to compare. But P. Craig Russell inking Rick Leonardi, and then, oh yeah, here it is, the Terry Austin inking Rick Leonardi. Like, it's Rick Leonardi, it's all Rick Leonardi, solid, it's got certain stylization and the way he draws figures, but like those inkers all bring very different feel to his work. I feel like we've lost that a little bit with modern day comic artists. Like that pairing doesn't seem as prominent or influential, or I don't know, like that the dynamic duo of pencil and inker. Either you find people who are they do it all, like they are the artists, they do all the pencils and the ink, sometimes even the colors all together, which is cool. Or you find a penciler and the inker is kind of just like on the side, and you don't really give him enough attention as the penciler. And the strength of what the inker brings, I don't know. I feel like it's a dying art a little bit, but I could just be me, but that's just my perception. Okay, let me catch up on the chat, and then we're gonna get to inking. Wow. All right, let's see. Katie says, I'm behind now. Here I am, 20 minutes behind. John's probably sleeping. Really? John, it's only, what time is it for you? It's middle of the afternoon. Why are you sleeping? We had a fun stream last night on Noah's channel with Shelby, Angela, and myself. Sadly, Noah deletes the streams after they end. Oh, dang. What's the name of Noah? I've heard people talk about Noah. What's the name of his stream? Art and Times of J. Ryan? Let me know. I need to see that shirt, Rocky. 1987 was especially... Oh, yes. I think I've talked about this here before. Do you know what your children are? What your children are. It's a spoof on Do You Know Where Your Children Are? And then they have the Muty branding over here. Paid private citizens in support of the Mutant Registration Act. And that led into... that was a big advertisement for this book. Classic X-Men graphic novel, which kind of changed the face of X-Men a little bit, I would say. God Loves, Man Kills. Love this book. I should do a review on this book. Oops. This is a great book, but it's really heavy and yeah, it's a great story though. Very mature, adult, and kind of gets to the core of like the mutant story. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think John Bogdanov drew this shirt graphic. I mean, it wasn't a shirt graphic, it was an advertisement. I'm pretty sure it was John Bogdanov, but I could be wrong about that. That's practically a brick of paper and ink. Yes, it is. It's actually really light. What's up, Mr. Monkey Boy? How you doing?
How do you say monkey in French?
Good to see you. Welcome to the Friday stream where we're at. When I said we need more nerds to come hang out, that was an invitation to hang out in Florida. Oh, nice. Well, Katie's here, a fellow nerd meet and greet. It's like the MMO con. 100% Mark and nerds. That's awesome. This comic reads like a traditional manga. Yeah. NTM Comics. Okay, cool. I gotta write that down. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard people mention Noah. I'm not familiar with Noah's work or streaming. So let me write that down and I'll check it out. That's great. You had a fun stream. Does he delete it just because he doesn't want people like clipping clips and taking them out of context? That can always be a problem. John is probably asleep. Touche. Touche, John.
He goes, "What's your name?" He goes, "John."
Good morning, John. I'm so glad to see you. Speak of the devil. Everybody's happy to see John. Welcome, welcome, John. All right, cool. Hello, hello. Hey, John. Everybody's happy to see John. Well, all right, let us get to the meat of today. We start off excited about seeing that unboxing of Essential X-Men. So yeah, if you guys love Mark Silvestri's work, if you'd love to see it black and white in that classic time period, which was late 80s, early 90s, one of my favorite time periods of X-Men and his artwork, that one is a worthy buy because it's just the inks and just to see it all collected in one volume. It is kind of sad. Well, I mean, I get it why they printed it in that cheapy paper. The Savage Dragon did that for these guys. Also kind of similar size, but it's cool to see it in black and white. But they printed on that kind of paper, and it's awesome to see it just kind of all together, black and white artwork. So that's the other time I've seen them do it, but I didn't know they had this for Mark Silvestri's work. So thanks to Shelby, I spent more money. Okay, so here we are. Just to recap for those of you who have not been watching the Master Study series on this EISNER page, shame on you. You should have been. So this is where we're at. We had finished the pencils last week. This is where we had ended up on the pencils of the page last week. This is the original. Oops. Let me hide my face for a second. This is the original page that I'm doing the study of. Look how crazy complicated that ink work is going to be. I am so frightened. I'm very, very worried about it. So this is where we ended up in the pencils. I took these pencils, scanned them in, turned them all into like a non-photo blue kind of setting, which fades them out, and then dialed them back a little bit so they weren't so dark, but clear enough where I can see where most of my marks in the pencil phase are. And then I'm going to ink on top of this bad boy. Start inking this today. So that is where we're at. It's going to be a challenge, but we are going to tackle it together. Is it Wednesday already? Kind of, sort of. It's Friday. Shelby and I keep telling him to leave the streams up to grow his channel. Yes, he wants people to see them live. I see. Yeah, well, you know, to each their own, however he wants to do it. Maybe he just makes them private, but he'll pop them up public later. Who knows? It is fun, though. It is fun to go back and watch. I watched a couple of live streams I had done. What it was unboxing of something. It was horrible. But it's kind of fun to see it up and see the chat going, too, at the same time. It's kind of cool that it can see the real-time chat saved for eternity. Savage Dragon before it got weird. Yeah, those earlier, it's really weird now. I can't even read current issues of Savage Dragon. I have no idea what's going on. But the early issues were super fun. And I think they're coming out with some sort of artist edition soon. At least that's what I've seen advertised. So that would be cool to see his artwork in real size with the corrections and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, his current stuff, his more recent stuff, like, I'm not a big fan. Katie woke. Nice. Sorry, John. Keep the pencils. I still love the blue. I do. I am. Yeah, I keep them. That's why I scan them in. But I do have the pencils for all the pages I've done. Wednesday was late this week. It was a little bit. All right, cool. So what are we doing? We're inking. Let me get some ink in here. I'm still using this same Winsor Newton ink, and I actually like it. It's been fine for the last 2 pages I've done. One of the inks I want to try is a Koh-i-Noor Ultra Draw ink, and it's hard to buy online. So I found out that it's carried at a local store here called Dick Blick, an art store that's local to here. So I'm gonna try and swing by there maybe this weekend. I'm not sure. But I'd like to try out that ink and just see if it's different, if it feels different, flows differently. Who knows? But so far, I mean, some people didn't really like Winsor Newton's black ink, but it's been okay. Maybe I won't know until I try a better ink. That's kind of how I am with most art supplies. I'm like, yeah, it works fine until you try something that's a lot better. And then you're like, oh, I see why everybody's been talking about that. All right, I can do this. I can do this. Which page? Let's see, which panel should I start on? I think I'm gonna start on. I think I'm gonna start on. This top right panel, because I am going to want, eventually these are going to have to be cut into with white paint. This is how I'm going to do it. So probably want to get in everything first, I think. Is that the right panel to start with? There's not like, well, I don't know, it's scary. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let's start on that panel. Let's go. Let me get myself a little bit more light. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I see something. Here in spirit, no derailing. Charcoal has saved you this time. The chief derailer is in the house. What's up, Emo Trash? You working on a charcoal drawing? That's cool. That'll preoccupy your fingers using charcoal, so you can't type things to derail the chat. Is that what we're saying? Mark's Music Obsession says, I have Katie's art she sent me framed. I'm waiting on my stuff by this guy named Shanth. Be Shadowbox framed. Wow. Talk about treating it with respect. Love it. Squeeze some squids for your ink. Maybe I should. Does inking make you nervous? Yes. I think I just got to get the ink down and then. But I think, yeah, the first ink brush. I mean, the first putting down makes me nervous. Emo Trash says you'll check back in if I'm done with my drawing before Rocky's done. I'm pretty sure you're going to be done before I'm done, because This is going to take me more than one sitting. All right, let me make sure I got my mic in place. I don't want to be eating it while I'm inking. All right, let's do this. Yeah. Let's do this. Ah, Winsor Newton, how I've missed thee. Such a beautiful, beautiful brush. I will say, it's like when you first start inking, your brush is totally clean. It hasn't, built up the residue from multiple loading up of ink. And so it's really clean. The point's really sharp, and that's a nice feeling. One of the things that I'm gonna have to do a lot on this EISNER page is get better at feathering. Because there's a lot of feathering going on. Zoom in just the hair. I need a little bit more light. It kind of blows it out a little bit for you guys, but I need it for my eyeballs. Nice. Do you know if they inked the original piece with a brush? I don't know for a fact, but I'm going to guess with 99% confidence that they did. Just looking at the strokes, I can't imagine. I'm assuming EISNER was a brush dude. I missed the $2 brush. I have it here. My Hobby Lobby brush. It'll come into play. What's up, Cherished Psalms?
What's wrong, little Pookie?
New profile picture. Nice. Is that a Pookie? I don't know. What's up, American Discord? I found a pretty cool ink that's my new favorite. It's the blood of my enemies. I was like, and oh, blood of your enemies. Okay. I can look for that. That would be good. Shelby, I don't know if you were here, but I just bought this because of you. Thanks for nothing. Or thanks for everything. I just got this because of you. It's beautiful. So thank you for the recommendation. And I can't wait to dig into this one. And super inspiring to see it as I start inking. Like looking at this black and white stuff. It's great. It wasn't too hard to find, but it was hard to find that it was affordable. Because I don't think they're printing those essential collections anymore. But thank you for your review and convincing me to get it. Could be a Pookie. Could be. I'm just going to say it is. Yeah, I can't imagine Jay them doing some of these marks. I don't know, maybe I'm just not as skilled with a pen or a nib, but it definitely feels like brushy. And isn't that what all those old timer legends, they were all working with brush for the most part. getting so confused here with like trying to see these black areas behind the white bursts. Has anybody watched? I have not yet, but I heard that the new Mignola documentary came out on, I think it's Amazon Prime. But I'm really curious to see that. And then I just got an email from Stewarding Books, which is based in LA. They carry a lot of hard to find comics and graphic novels and European stuff, but they were just announcing a new book that's based on a gallery show that Mike Mignola is about to open up in, I think it's in New York. So they just he's releasing a book that's the like catalog or what's in the show, and I think he's even signing it for stewarding customers. So if you guys are interested, it's not that expensive. It was like, I think $40 for a book signed by Mignola of his gallery work. Looks pretty awesome. So I put in my pre-order for that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see that documentary. Curious. They even hinted, when you watch the trailer for it, they hinted like some conversations he had with Del Toro and some apprehensions, probably is a good way to describe it too, of when Del Toro was directing Hellboy, the first Hellboy movies. And they had conversations of like, you know, Hellboy would never do that, or that's not that doesn't feel like Hellboy. And Del Toro was like, not your Hellboy. So there was almost like a line drawn in the sand of, yes, we're being respectful of what you've done for Hellboy, but at the same time, Hellboy for the movies is very different than Hellboy in the comics. So it wasn't like get on board or not. It wasn't like an ultimatum, but it seemed like there was a little bit of tension there, which I always thought they were like good buddies. So who knows? And hopefully the documentary go into that more. Don't forget the lamentations of their women to be mixed in with their blood. Don't overlook all the cool pages by Leonardi in there. No, I don't. You know, as a kid I did. I think I kind of was like, who is this fill-in artist? And I was mentioning it earlier in stream. Like, I was so dialed into Silvestri's stuff that, like, anybody else was not good enough. But looking at Leonardi's work as I've gotten older, man, he is so amazing. And I think there's 3 different inkers, at least in this collection, that are on him. Dan Green, P. Craig Russell, and Terry Austin. And all of them bring a different life to his work. But one thing's clear, seeing all those different artists or all those different inkers on his stuff, one thing's clear is like he is such, if I had to describe Leonardi's work in one adjective, it would be solid. Like, he is such a solid artist, and his stuff is alive. Like, it has a look to it that is stylized but really grounded in solid figure work. And yeah, I don't think I appreciated it as much as a kid because I was too dialed into Silvestri's stuff. What if it was all crow quills? That would scare me if they did it all crow quills. But I don't think so. Eisner used these Kolinsky brushes for his inks. There you go. I think he would go between the number 2 and 3, then used a 2 for the white paint of X. Perfect. Yeah, I think you could still buy Kolinsky brushes too, which were like the, you know, competitor or whatever with Winsor Newton, right? I think so. I've seen in that Art of Comic Book inking book, I've seen people recommend both Winsor Newton and Kolinsky equally, so I'm assuming they're just competitors. It's going to be a lot of white cutting in here. Mr. Monkey Boy 1968 says my parental unit used nibs. Like for reals? That your parents? Nib brushes are hard to use. Yeah, Leonardi seems like a cool person. I don't know much about. I've never met him or seen. Actually, I haven't seen many interviews with him. So yeah, I don't know. But he's been working in the industry for a long time and consistently good. Huge run on many big titles. Spider-Man 2099, I remember him on, and I know he had a run on Cloak and Dagger. I have some issues of Cloak and Dagger that he worked on. Then obviously X-Men. I think I was first exposed to his work through like the X-Men fill-in issues, which again wasn't fair because he's coming off the heels or the shadow of Silvestri and Jim Lee and Art Adams. I always liked his Colossus too. His Colossus was really chunky. He got inked by Sienkiewicz in some New Mutants. Yep. Bill did him so wrong. Better off with Austin or whoever on that issue. Bill Sienkiewicz is one of those guys who I don't think I've seen a Sienkiewicz inked job or book where I've liked his inks on anybody but himself. Like, he's that kind of singular artist, so to be stuck in the position of inker where you are kind of complimenting somebody else's work, it's kind of like in the Kevin Nolan territory, I would say. Like, Kevin Nolan, the difference though I find with Kevin Nolan, even though his inks can be very heavy-handed where it's like, oh, that looks like, and I know he's done this a number of times where he's just like redrawn full-on faces and characters in his style and kind of disregarded the penciler, whatever the story may be of like how he got to that point. But I know some people don't like Kevin Nolan's inks because he can be heavy-handed sometimes, but I love it because I think he, especially in his later years, like he just made, I always felt like he just made the artwork better. Whether it's like better structure or better, just more solid, better lighting. But Sienkiewicz is so painterly with his stuff and so loose and gestural. Like, I can see him on a solid artist like Leonardi, like, not really pairing up. And I put that on the editor a little bit of like an editor or creative director or whoever's in charge of casting the artists on a book. Like, they should know that about the two artists. So yeah, it's cool. Sometimes that mixture works. When it works, it's magic, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think Sienkiewicz is an incredible artist. Has done some amazing comic work. But I would not cast him as an inker on stuff. He's just too... His individual style is too strong to be a complement to a penciler. Mr. Monkey Boy says, I like Wrightson and green stuff. Yeah, I love Wrightson's inks. Just another character. Another level. Just dumb monkey. Not artistic at all. Aw. Kalinsky is the animal the brush gets its bristles from. Oh, what's up, Rocky Macabre? Thank you for that. I didn't even know Kalinsky was an animal. Just like the wild Winsor Newton. I now expect someone to use the rents to describe their parents. Oh boy. We're not that hip on this stream. The rents. I stick to Winsor Newton Series 7 for bulking up outlines, too heavy-handed to do any fine line details with full control in the brush. It's hard. It's hard to get that like fine detail, and I think that's part of the struggle and or joy of using a brush like this. I mean, I have kind of debated. I'm like, maybe I need to buy a #1 Winsor Newton brush just to get smaller detailed stuff. But then part of me is just like, you could do it with the #2. You just got to get the right point. You just got to get the right point. Like, look how thin this point is right now. Like, you could do it, but it does take a lot of control. Got to have a steady hand. Here we go. Some very, very tiny feathering going on. Love it. Yeah, I gotta research, and if any of you guys have in the chat have seen, I don't know if there are any, but videos of, I know Shant sent me a video of Mark Schultz inking, who I'd put him in the category of like EISNER as far as like an inker or that kind of skill level, but I would love to see a video of EISNER inking. I don't know if there are any out there. That would be incredible. So I'd love to see how fast he did it and how easy or not easy it was. I'm sure it was easy. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm loving the point I'm getting right now on this brush. Winsor Newton makes Kalinsky scalpel. Oh, okay. So maybe it's the same brush we're talking about then. Quesada inked by Nolan is magical. Woo! I 100% agree with that. The Batman Azrael, one of the best pairings, one of the best Quesada moments, I think, and I think it's because of Nolan was on it. It made me a Joey Q fan back in the day. Also made me realize how much Jimmy Palmiotti inks. Whoops. Are pure trash. Really? Really? I wouldn't call Palmiotti's stuff trash. It was different. It was not as, at the time, yeah, I wouldn't call it trash. At the time, I would say, I mean, even today, I would say Nolan's inks on Quesada's stuff is some of the best I've ever seen Quesada's work. But Palmiotti's done some great stuff. He posts a lot of, I don't know if you follow him on X, Shelby, but he posts a lot of his own original artwork that he owns. Some of it he of his own inks too, and it's awesome. It's really good. Is he as good as Nolan? Maybe not. No, definitely not. But it's not trash. That's so hilarious. I wouldn't dare call somebody like Jimmy Palmiotti in his career trash. This is what I'm talking about, like, oh my gosh, I gotta get these, like, hatch lines. There's so many of these contour hatch lines all over this page. Ugh, it's kind of messy. Yeah, well. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in post. Deep in the jungle, we find the Winsor Newton, whose hair is prized for being used for brushes. Shelby. Shelby don't care. Hashtag Shelby don't care. Get God, Jimmy. Is Palmiotti the black? That's a great question. Jimmy was 100% a personality hire by... Whew! Volume of work doesn't equate talent, just consistency. And Jimmy was consistently a dumpster fire that got pages to editors in time. I mean, if you get the job done, yeah. The best isn't always the quickest. Dumpster fire, dang. I don't ever want to get on Shelby's bad side, because having my body of work described as a dumpster fire could be a little demoralizing. Hashtag Shelby don't care. Shelby don't care. Ears are such weird anatomical things. And I know every artist draws or like simplifies, abstracts ears differently, but they're such weird bits of folded flesh or cartilage. For some odd reason, drawing ears, like this dude's ear in particular, reminds me of Raging Bull, which is one of my all-time favorite films. And just looking at like Jake LaMotta's ears, the boxer's ears, and how like jacked up they can get. It's even weirder to ink an ear. I'm gonna have to smooth some of these lines out later. Get them a little hairy. This is Shelby before his first 5 copies are in her monsters. He's like a caged tiger. How do you clean your ink well? Isn't some of the ink already dried when you do? Send Jimmy the link. This inkwell, how do I clean it? Yeah, it just comes off with water. It does. And some of it does dry. I try not to put too much in this well at once because I don't want to waste it just by it just being sitting there and drying. But yeah, it just comes off with water, and I like it because this particular container is like a little ceramic cup, so it comes off very easily with water or hot water or soap. I have another ceramic thing that I use like when I used to paint more that has like different compartments. It looks like a little like ceramic flower, and it has different compartments. So when one dries up, you can kind of move to the next compartment. But since this is all just ink, I decided to get this one cup. And that particular like ceramic thing is hard to hold in the hand, and I wanted to hold something as I reload my brush. I wanted to be able to hold it in my hand. Gotta stay humble, especially to those above you in the craft. Nice inks. What's up, Alan Lau? How are you doing, man? Thank you. Hope you're having a good week, good Friday. This Eisner page study is better than Jimmy's efforts. Oh my gosh, Shelby, you kill me. Give the guy a break, man. Palmiotti. There was an interview with him recently on Mark Miller's channel, his YouTube channel. If you guys want to know more about Jimmy Palmiotti beyond Shelby's description of a consistent inking dumpster fire, you can hear about his story and his kind of career path. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mark's Music Obsession, he is based in Florida now. So maybe he can come meet you and Katie. You guys can hang. You can have deep conversations about how bad Shelby thinks he is. Oh my gosh. So it's cool, like, oh man, I'm just not as smooth as Eisner, but he does these great things where he'll draw a contour line to indicate a pinch, like in this lip, and then he'll do these like step ladder hatch marks a little bit, and then he'll close it off, and so it gives it this nice like curvature, this nice dimension. Yeah, like a 3-dimension to it. It's really cool. And he does that a lot. I'm noticing he does that a lot. Very tiny. Tiny, tiny. Instead of just making it all black, the hatch marks make it almost like a gray midtone, so it's not so strong. It gives it, and you can feel the dimensionality in that. It's like the light is curving around it. It's really cool. I gotta look at that. I confess, I have not looked at the artist edition of the Spirit that they put out of Eisner's work. But I gotta look at it closely because next time I'm in the shop, I gotta look at it closely because I'd love to see like some of the corrections he did, or if he'd had any corrections. So the awesome thing I love about this Winsor Newton is, you guys have noticed I haven't cleaned my brush yet, and it's still holding ink, and the point is still holding pretty cleanly. So that's the magic of the Kalinsky hair, I guess, according to you guys. And I think number one reason that I love brush is the organic flow of the line quality. But the second reason is like how much ink it holds in one go, as opposed to, I feel like with nibs, you have to load them up constantly. I guess pens you can, they hold a lot of ink too, but there's something about this organic line that I just love. And then just adding a little pressure and go from super thin line to add some thickness to contour. Oh my gosh, there's so many little hatch marks here. Save me. Look at that meatball face. I prefer my women with cauliflower ear. As demoralizing as taking an elephant gun bullet to the chest. Because they can take a beating, right? Real talk. I sold some art to Carlos Condit, UFC fighter. Handful of years ago, his earlobes were totally blown out flat. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like mush. It's total mush. I mean, I guess you don't need them. You don't need them to be perfectly formed. John says, I need to run now. Okay, see you later, John. God bless all. Bow. Thanks for being here. Thanks for waking up. Katie waking you up. Bye, John. Later, John. I've hit the point. I've gotten tired of drawing, but so much more is still left to be done. Keep pushing. Keep pushing, emo trash. Don't give up. Gotta push through those humps. I've been on Jimmy and Joe's heels to get an Ash Omnibus out. I think there's some bad blood between the two. Yes. I have that. I get that feeling too. And I wonder if it has to do with Joe. I'm just totally speculating here, but his career like skyrocketing as chief creative or whatever position he ultimately hit at Marvel. And they were kind of equals at the time when they were rising up. They were like a duo. And Palmiotti not so much. I mean, he wrote, he was doing other stuff, but yeah, you don't see them. Well, I don't know. That's not true because I don't know. Again, all speculation. But I think that recently Palmiotti released, he's been doing a lot more, look at that clean tip. He's been doing a lot more crowdfunding stuff for his own books, kind of relaunching Painkiller Jane, I want to say. And I thought he got Quesada to do some special covers on that. So, but I know that Quesada launching his new comic book line, whatever that's going to turn into, I don't think Palmiotti's part of that. But, you know, hopefully they're still friends. Hopefully they're still friends. Maybe they're, you know, done with being business partners or whatever it was for Event Comics, where they produced Ash, but hopefully they're still friends. An Ash omnibus would be cool. Although, I will give you this, Shelby. I do feel like the inks on a lot of that Ash stuff weren't the greatest, and that was all Palmiotti. Like, I would have loved to see Nolan or another inker work on Ash with Quesada. But since it was both their creation, it was always Palmiotti, and I didn't like the inks on that either. So, but I wouldn't call it out as clearly as you do. As hashtag Shelby don't care. Turn it this way so that I can get the point direction correctly on the feather. Apparently Florida is a big place. It is. Enough room for all the Marks and the Jimmies. Poor Jimmy. Limestone and sand in Florida. First figure is coming along nicely in the sinking stage. Thank you, Timmy Mello. Yeah, it's coming along. Rocky, I'll keep you in check on that Jason Pierce artist for the entire run of Body Bags plus bonus art. I'll keep you in check on that Jason Pearson. I am all over. The second that becomes available, I'm all over that. I'm all over that. I'm excited to see what extras they might include. Hopefully there'll be a lot. Like whether that's sketches or art we haven't ever seen. I really hope that Scott Dunbiers was able to acquire some of that stuff through Jason's family and friends, because that would be incredible. But if it's just all reproductions, high quality scans of the original art from that series, and that's it, I'd still be happy. But yeah, that's one of the top of my lists of artist editions that will be coming out in the future. Sorry, I'm way down here. Maybe we find some fossils and shark's teeth. Tim Deere says, we're signing off for now. Going to walk the dog. Catch you another time. Thanks, Tim. Good to see you. Thank you. See you later, Poppy. Have a good walk. There are sharks? I'm not coming. Yeah, they kind of are. Brush a line, re-ink your nib. Brush a line, re-ink your nib. Yeah, that's... I do need to... Possibly the next artist study, if I can ever get through this EISNER one. I think the artwork that I am planning on doing next will be a nib page, I think, just based on how the original looks. So stay tuned for that. But I think it'll be good for me to like practice with a nib again and get back into it. When I first started doing any kind of like comic book inking when I was in college, I did mostly nib stuff, so I did like it. And it was at the time that I was more into artists that used nibs, like Scott Williams and Jay Lee and those guys. So I wanted that kind of scratchy, thinner pen mark look. But ugh, I just botched that. But yeah, as I got older and kind of the artists that I liked looking at more, I realized how much I loved brushwork and the feel of the tool and the quality of the line. A lot had to do with looking at Dave Stevens a lot, and like Alan Davis, Mark Farmer, their artwork has that kind of nice organic feel to it. That's another dynamic duo of artists. I know Shelby would appreciate that because he's a huge fan of Alan Davis and Mark Farmer's stuff. But yeah, that was another duo that like their pairing was like perfect. I really don't like the way that turned out. I'd already been going for at least an hour and a half before you started streaming. Oh, okay. Most of Joe's work is inked by Danny Miki. Oh my gosh. I believe in being blunt these days, feeling age kicking in. That's right. Roses are roses earned, not given. Oh. I think it is an age thing. It's like, whatever. I don't have to impress anybody anymore. I just don't want to die. I just have enough humidity where I live. Don't need Florida humidity. He was able to obtain scans of all the published art, plus other covers, pinups, prelims. It might be the pinnacle of AE books. All right. I'm there. My money is ready. Even though I don't have it, my money is ready for that book. And I am so glad that happened, because when Jason Pearson passed away, I was just so sad that we wouldn't be getting any more of his artwork in the world, and that most of the prints, he never really got great compilations of his artwork. Like, I never felt like he was an artist that got his proper highlight of his, like, he would come out with I have one of his like sketchbooks from a convention, and the actual issues of the books that he would do I have, but I never felt like he got like a proper behind the scenes or artist edition of his stuff, or like omnibus of his stuff. I feel like I would love to see an artist edition of his Savage Dragon Blood and Guts that he did. I love that work. And that's probably my favorite version of Dragon ever, even more so than Eric Larson's. But I I know that'll never happen. I doubt that would ever happen. So yeah, when I heard that announcement from Scott Dunbier's new company, I was like, oh my gosh, my dreams have come true. It's just a shame he's not alive to see it and appreciate it, and appreciate the accolades that he'll get from it. It's a great storyteller. Like, I know sometimes his sometimes his material was controversial for people. It was really gritty and kind of dark. But as far as a storyteller, a comic storyteller, he was really good with the craft. Could pace out story so well. His action was awesome. His character expressions were great. All right, I'm gonna let that drift. Well, maybe I should start Spirit's Head. Another ear. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like. I'd appreciate it. I love the responses I've been getting on these master study streams. Seems like people have been enjoying them. Getting good engagement. It's been so fun for me. Just learning. It's like the other day I was just talking to my wife and saying, oh, I should take whatever, some classes about something. I'm like, I'd love to take a class on comic book stuff, but you know what? Just don't know what you're going to get. It depends on the teacher. It had to be like a specific teacher or a specific skill set comic books, because sometimes it's just like you just got to do it. And I feel like these master studies are me just telling myself, just do it. Not that I know everything already, but a lot of it is just practicing and learning the craft. Stop talking about it so much. Just do it. Do it! So yeah, I feel like I'm in class a little bit doing this. A weird class where I have to talk and draw and check on the chat. That's kind of weird, but I do feel like I'm just learning by doing. Look at that weird meatball ear. Weird. So we could get the Pearson Blood and Guts, yes. Oh, wait. Ooh, back up. Blah, 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 blah. Mark Farmer, Paul Neary are both the best to ink Alan. Are both the best to best to ink Alan Davis. I don't have a preference between the. Yeah, they were both great. Again, they had that like nice, brushy, organic quality. Really complemented his pencils. I'm still crossing my fingers that Eric Larson will do some ultimate omni of all those minis and side stories. Hasn't included those in the drag. Nah. I had heard that, maybe I'm just making this up, but I had heard that it was so popular, it's probably a rumor, but but it was a little too different for, like, after it came out, it was Larson felt like it was too different than what he was trying to accomplish for Dragon, because it was very different in tone, less superhero-y and kind of wacky villains, and more dark and gritty, like cop noir that Pearson did. And I believe Pearson wrote the story too. So I kind of, I guess the rumor, I could be making this up, but the rumor is that because it was so different, Larson didn't really promote it as much. It was like different and also really popular though, because people loved it from what I had heard. I loved it. So yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it reprinted or anything. I just see it in the original graphic novel and the original issues. So we could get the Pearson Blood and Guts. That would be amazing. Jason was part of that whole studio surrounded by talent in the early 90s. Yeah, Gaijin Studios. And Shanth interned at that studio. So that's his connection with them. And the stuff that they were doing as a studio and as artists was unlike anything I'd heard before, and it was so different outside of the normal like image system, I felt like. And even though they all worked in the same studio, they had very different styles. Like Adam Hughes was so different than Stel Freeze, and Pearson was so different from those guys. Cully Hamner was part of it. Well, I'd argue probably the closest to Hamner's artwork, like Stel Freeze, he kind of was in that same vein. But yeah, Adam Hughes was so different from them, but they also were like practicing the same storytelling techniques and methodology, which was super solid. Oh, and then they had Carl Story as an inker there, another great inker. Yeah, they had a cool thing going there. It was kind of rebellious and outside of the mainstream comic system, and yet they were still working in mainstream comics, so very distinctive style. Most of art is just getting out of your own way and doing it. Yep, I agree. This experience is reminding me how compressed charcoal is simultaneously so much nicer than Vine. There he is. Awesome One on time.
Yes! That's awesome!
How you doing, Awesome One? Good to see you. Eric is tone deaf on all levels. He's a moron. Here we go. This is great. Oh my gosh. You gotta, don't ever drink a Monster or any coffee. I like this Shelby. Let's keep this Shelby. Eric is tone deaf on all levels. He's a moron. He needs to be, to just put it out and wait. And rake in the dough from us nerds with taste. You know that Eric Larson, oh gosh, I hope he never watches my stream. Eric Larson actually lives somewhere near where I live in this area. And I have seen him a few times at Amazing Fantasy, Frank's shop. Like just on a Wednesday, like picking up books. And so, and I've heard him have conversations with Frank. Frank knows him just about, you know, comics and what's coming out and all that, even Image Days and stuff like that. So yeah, he's a Bay Area dude, as is Mike Mignola, and I think Arthur Adams too, somewhere out here. And in the down the peninsula, I believe, south of San Francisco, I believe Travis Charest lives out here too. These Bay Area dudes. But yeah, Eric Larson, I admire the dude a lot, but he does. His storytelling is a little weird. The kind of stories he has a lot of knowledge about comics in general, and a lot of experience and a lot of talent. But yeah, some of his stories are just weird. Which is why I was never like a regular purchaser of like Dragon beyond the first maybe 10 or so issues. After a while it just started getting too bizarre. And I thought his original, outside of Dragon, I thought all of his original characters and creations were bizarre. Like he came up with, like, he's like a weird, he's got a weird taste in design. He had Freak Force, which they were all kind of the crazy, odd characters. Dart. Star. They just had very weird costumes. I like Dragon, though. I thought Dragon was the most interesting character he created. My art teachers were terrible in college, Timmy Mello says. They never really taught us anything, but rather just have us draw and grill us on our mistakes without providing solutions to improve. I ended up switching to sports management to graduate and stopped drawing until recently, thanks to CG. That sucks that your experience in school discouraged you from continuing on. But I mean, sports management sounds pretty cool too. But yeah, that kind of sucks. So I'm glad that you're picking back up and trying again, because I mean, it's one thing as a teacher to critique and whatever, dissect people's work, but if you're doing it to a point where it's like you're making people not want to do it anymore, that's like defeats the purpose a little bit of being a teacher. Awesome one is eating pizza and watching He-Man and She-Ra origin story. Wow, that sounds eventful. This get off my lawn era Shelby is really feeling himself. I will link him to this stream. He hits me up every couple of years to inquire about my ability to finish this. Really? We're talking about Larson here? Get out. Have you ever inked Larson before, Shelby? I could see you doing a great job of inking him, actually. That would be amazing. He has a strange head. Wow, we're going there. All right. I know that he has a big forehead. I hope we're still talking about Eric Larson, and I'm not just stepping out of line here, because his imprint, or whatever studio that he had, while he was at Image, I know at one point he was going by Highbrow Entertainment, and the little caricatures he would draw of himself had like a very large forehead. So, as someone who also has a large forehead, I feel for the dude. Or a five head, as some people would describe it. But yeah, Shelby, man, if you could ink Larson, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. I could see him. I could see you doing a great job with that. I don't think I've seen many people. For the most part, I feel like Eric Larson inks himself, or has been for several decades now. I haven't seen him collaborate with other people that much. He's kind of like a one-man show, and has been for a long time. I like his Spider-Man, the Star of Savage Dragon. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some cool stuff he did in Spider-Man. I think part of the success of that, in my opinion, is because he was coming right after Todd, and had a lot of Todd-isms in his work that was like, oh, cool, here's this new guy, and he kind of is doing what Todd did, but adding his own spin on it. So yeah, he had some fun stuff on Spider-Man. But then then his weird design sense came out where he was doing like cosmic Spider-Man, and then I remember Spider-Man had like a gun at one point. It was weird, or like a cyber arm. It was really weird designs. Watching draw is painful. Oh, sorry. I hope you're not talking about me. Is it me? Is this just the streamer Rocky explaining things he finds weird? Maybe. And Shelby ragging on people. How do you pronounce his name? Is it Michelini? I can't remember. I think it Michelini. And Larson Spider-Man Omnibus is pure gold, man. Love all that stuff. Then the first 2 or 3 years of Dragon, I bowed out when his stories got weird around Dragon 30. Yeah, I think same. But in my mind, though, I actually could never... I guess until he did Dragon, for me, this is just my experience, he never stepped out of the shadow of what Todd had done, and maybe it's because I was just such a huge fan of Todd's Spider-Man. And I couldn't not compare his stuff to Todd. And I feel like the difference between Todd... I feel like Todd was a better artist. And the difference between... Maybe McFarlane... Maybe Larson was faster. But the difference between how I viewed Todd's art and how I viewed Larson's art was... Every version of character or whatever, Todd's version of everything, in my mind, was the coolest. So, like, his version of Wolverine was so cool. His version of the Hulk was so cool. His version of the X-Men was so cool. And I know, I think I've had discussions with some of you guys that are, like, laughing at specifically Todd's version of some of the X-Men. But anyway, I always thought, like, when he drew Captain America, it was so cool. So I always felt like anything that Todd touched just added that Todd flair and was amazing. And then when Larson would do the same thing, I was like, it looks kind of weird. Kind of weird version of whatever. Like Todd drawing... I know Todd designed Venom, but, like, Todd drawing Venom was amazing. And then Larson drew Venom and it was like, it's more exaggerated. It's kind of weirder. His jaw was, like, more unhinged, and yeah. So I could never... He never stepped out of the shadow of Todd McFarlane, as far as in my mind, until he did Dragon. Then it was, his own character and his own story, and I like that a lot. Then Dragon became more about, like, the weird characters and the weird storylines, and that's when I fell off. Really hard. Larson seems like he was trying to be Kirby. Yes. I love that. I think that's a great way of putting it, because Kirby would make very bizarre design choices at times, and Larson is highly influenced by Kirby. Like, I do think he has a lot of that, like, energy that Kirby brought to his artwork. Just, like, unabashed energy. But yeah, with some... And Kirby wasn't perfect with all the design choices he made, but they were definitely cooler than some of Larson's. So yeah, I like that comparison. Cranberry Landers is back. What's up, man? Savage Dragon should have gone Axe Cop route and just made it silly and over the top. He kind of did, though, didn't he? But he was also really serious at times. People were dying. I didn't find... I forgot what her name is, what that character's name is, but his Dragon's love interest... I didn't really like her that much. So that, as their relationship grew, it was just like, I'm not really into her character. Yeah, I don't know. I feel it lost its focus on... I think he should have just kind of stuck tighter to really strong dragon stories instead of bringing in all the weird characters. Even his villains were like weird. They didn't really appeal to me. They were too weird. Whew. Man. Shelby Robertson, professional inker. He denotes light and shadow. Didn't realize how much early animation didn't care about consistency, as She-Ra's sword has one sword in hand, and then it's an empty hand, then it's a different sword, then it's an empty hand, then it's a different sword. Forget editing. Yeah, a lot of that filmation stuff had tons of inconsistencies. So, yeah, I can see that. I never took Eric up on finishes. His pay is terrible and wants to lock people in for 3-year deals. Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. Well, that's too bad. I think you on Larson could be cool. That could be a cool combo. You could teach him what's what, Shelby. You could definitely out Palmiotti him. Dang, oh dang. I think I cut that mask up too high. Goodness. 3-year deals? No thanks. Jay, don't let Noah trick you into a 3-year deal. Has the Sumo Angela stream happened or Saturday? I liked Cosmic Spider-Man. I didn't really like Cosmic Spider-Man. Showed what he would do with more power if he'd let it get into his head. Yeah. Savage was more street level. I liked more cosmic or over-the-top superhero stories. Yeah, I think I like the beat cop Savage Dragon stories more, and I think that's probably why I really loved Jason Pearson's take on it. It's like, yeah, he's a crazy dragon, but whatever. He's like works at a police station, and you know, nobody thinks much of it. And at the time, I think too, it was a nice contrast to what everybody else at Image was doing, which was all superhero, big, cosmic powers, aliens, you know, futuristic, sci-fi kind of stuff. And then Dragon was like really gritty Chicago police or whatever. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Gonna have to fix that later. I think I stopped collecting Spawn around issue 23 as the art became more artsy and lots of words. Liefeld and Larson actually rip on Todd's work in public quite a bit, yet both emulate so much of the Toddy cool factor when they can. Jealous AF, am I on? Yeah, Todd is nothing but successful for them. Yeah, Todd, I think that guy just doesn't stop. I see him and all the stuff he's doing right now, and him whenever he gets online and just talks about it, he's the same as he was like 30 years ago. How much he sells his stuff. Some edits on that later. That's bugging me. Todd McFarlane was one of my favorite artists. Yep, same. Definitely was. He was the best. Break us up. Ciao again. See you later, Cran. Art and Times of Jay Ryan says, I'd take Todd's worst over Eric's best effort any day of the week. Yeah. I mean, I've seen Todd, like, I haven't some of his recent stuff, and he's doing less and less drawing and more inking. I haven't been a big fan of. It's so funny. It's like, I don't think his style has changed dramatically. It's missing something, missing the energy. He's like done, you know, he doesn't need to like work as hard on the art as it. So I'd argue like that's not his best stuff, the stuff that he's putting out now as an artist, like the covers he does and would I take that over Eric Larson's best? Yeah, I don't know. It's not like I'm dying to see what Todd does now. He's not even on my radar as an artist anymore. But his old stuff, yeah, my gosh. Some of the greatest comic book art. I love the artist edition that they came out with of Todd's Spider-Man work, but I feel like it could have been so much more. Like there's so many things missing, and probably because he sold a lot of his artwork and it's hard to track and blah blah blah, but there's so many pages in that I'm like, oh, I wish they had this page, and I wish they had a complete run of this book. It's kind of piecemeally a little bit as artist editions go. But the artwork that they do have is really amazing to see at size. Eesh. This face is killing me. Keep doing it backwards for the direction of the point. At least my natural inclination is to do it backwards and then bleh. I don't know. I only have first couple issues of Savage. Weirdos doing weird things. Yep. Comrade Sammy has finally entered the chat. Comrade Sammy, what's up? You're here. Good to see you. The ninja is here. Chat ninja is here. Ninja lurking. I'd love it to be a fly in the wall for Eric and Shelby conversation where Shelby drops truth bombs on Eric. I'm pretty sure Eric has got a biting tongue himself from what I've heard. I don't think he's like... I've seen a couple interviews with him. He doesn't seem like the nicest, friendliest guy. I don't know him at all. But he's not the first... Let me put it this way. He's not the first person I'd approach at a con to get his autograph. And I've seen... Like I said, I've seen him in Frank's shop. And I'm not like, oh, dude, I'd love for you to sign this book for me. I feel like he would just like laugh and walk out the store. I could be wrong. But yeah, that would be a funny conversation. Shelby and Eric. You guys should start a stream together. We'll call it Piss and Vinegar. Shelby don't care. Eric don't care. And then you can have Jimmy Palmiotti as a guest. Special guest star. Jimmy Palmiotti. I think Shelby can outrun him. I think I stopped collecting comics around 96, then didn't start again until 2005, then mostly dollar. That's kind of similar. When I stopped collecting, probably around 97, 98. And then, yeah, I didn't pick it up until way later. I would buy things here and there, but nothing serious. Eric hasn't hit me up since around 2016. Easiest way to annoy Eric is to talk to him at a con about how cool Beat Cop Dragon was. He will go off about how that dragon's been replaced by Malcolm for over a decade. Sounds about right. Of all the dollar bins purchased, Our Man has been my all-time favorite books. Wow, Our Man. Our Man. Do I even know that much about Our Man? I don't even think I know that much about Our Man. Why do you like Our Man? Didn't he have like an hour to use his power or something like that? I can't remember. This is DC, right? So this is why I have very small recollection of DC characters, DC Universe. I vaguely remember something that, like, he had only an hour to do something. Todd is trying to emulate Greg when he draws. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I feel like Greg Capullo kind of took the mantles of Spawn. And at first he was trying to do Todd in a Greg Capullo way. But then he just took it to another level. And then Todd was like, dang, just let him keep doing it. And then never looked back. He would ink him every now and then, or ink him for certain things, but yeah, never looked back. Never kind of took those reins back of what Spawn was. So it's just been the Greg Capullo show. Did I beat John here? I bet he's asleep. Can you believe that guy? Stay up super late to watch all of Katie's stream. Not me, though. I wouldn't do that. Actually, you didn't beat John here. He was here, but he did leave. I think maybe Katie actually woke him up. God bless you, Katie. And he popped in here for a little bit. Oof, that was not good. But yeah, I guess he was up late. You guys are partying too hard. Katie's stream. I will have to say, when you don't watch late night streams, you were able to sleep more. Go figure. Let's see. Be lucky if I get this one panel done today. This is a beast. So many folds and hatch marks. Oops. That and it. Her stream was at 5 a.m. Yikes. Wow. Katie, shame on you. Katie, wake John up again. Oh my gosh. The 80s American version of really awful mecha designs. Robotics, yeah. It's looking really nice, Rocky. Thank you, Katie. Aren't we glad we voted for the most difficult page? We're getting there. Still have to hang the last shelf. Comrade Sammy. Groomsman professional inker. Not quite there. Not quite there. Just learning. Just learning. Oh, I think I screwed that up. So, whoops. I go here. Here. Always forget the direction of the brush. Will either give you a nice smooth curvature of the line, or it'll start splitting. That's satisfying to do that thick mark right there. Whew. Have to load up my ink a little bit more. So. Yeah, I feel like with that mask, give too much white space around that mask. One more load up and then I might have to change my water. Mark says, I don't think I will be able to get Katie to have a cup of Southern iced tea. She probably won't like it. What? Oh, Katie. If we're talking about a good cup of ice cold Southern sweet tea, and there are varying degrees of quality with that. But when you get a good cup of sweet tea on a hot day, whew. Yeah, Mark, you got to do that. You got to expose Katie to that. That'll be a whole nother meaning of cup of tea for her. My brother-in-law is from the South, and he's all about the sweet tea. I can tell my point's getting a little sloppy here. I have to take a second to clean my brushes. Oh my gosh, this guy's so complicated. I haven't even got to him yet. And should have cleaned my brush before I did all these. These lines are so precise in spots. It's crazy. Like on one hand they feel pretty loose, so like they're just like doo doo doo. But then on the other hand it's like so evenly spaced. Should do more. I've seen people, inkers or whatever, they just practice just the strokes, not even drawing something, but just like the strokes that they put down. They just practice. I should probably do that more. Okay, kind of. Kind of got that guy on the left. I do need to do some cleanup around here. Around his nose and stuff, but kind of. Brits can hold their sugar, I'm sure. I can make sweet or unsweeted. I use Splenda in mine these days. I'm not a big fan of Splenda. I always can taste that, like, chemical, not pure sugar taste. But I know it's arguably healthier for you because the amount of sugar that's in sweet tea can be a lot. Southern iced tea recipe: 4 pounds of sugar and 2 gallons of water. Tea flavor choice. There you go. Milo, best store-bought tea. Oh, do you guys know Milo? Katie might know Milo. Milo is kind of this like malt drink. It's pretty big in Asia. I don't think that's what you're talking about, Mr. Monkey Boy, or is it? Because it's not a tea. It's just it's like a malty, chocolatey drink. It's really good. They have, my wife is from Singapore, and they have, you can get iced Milo at the like food stalls, and sometimes they'll do something called a Milo dinosaur, which we basically make Milo in milk, add ice, condensed milk, like a huge scoop of condensed milk, and then they'll put a large scoop of the powdered Milo on top of it. Oh my gosh, it's really disgustingly good. I will make some proper sugar version Southern tea. Nice. Classic. Charcoal free hands. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's right. You know we love sugar so much that they now tax it. Oh boy. Really? Ugh. So what's Southern tea anyway? Southern tea is tons of sugar. True. But it's also like you have to taste the tea. It's like brewed in the sun kind of taste. And it's like a perfect, well, the sweet tea that I like, the Southern sweet tea I like, is like you can taste the tea, the brew of the tea, but you also taste the sugar. You don't want it to be just sugar water. You don't want it to just be like tart tea, but it's good. Yeah, it's not hot. That's right. Some Southern tea is sun tea where you set out. Yes. Yes. Really good. Love it when he starts. I'm not even drawing guns or explosions and I'm doing the pew pew. So it happens. Splenda doesn't come anywhere near the category of healthy. It's actually worse than sugar. Really? Isn't it like supposed to be like, it's because it's less sugar? I don't know. I mean, it's not sugar technically. I know it's all chemicals, but for people who can't take sugar. Mom made sun tea in the morning. We had sun tea with some ice after school. It's the best. It's the best. I do like sweet things. I'm sure I'll like it. I'll make mine just as Rocky describes it. Nice. I wish I could have some of your tea, Mark. Give me a second, guys. I have to go clean my water and clean out my inkwell. So hang tight. I shall be back. I should play something. What should I play? Let me play maybe, oh, Comrade Sammy would hate this. But I'm gonna do it because I need a little time to play. So all right, I'll be back. I just gotta clean some stuff. Hang tight. Perfect. I'm back. Clean brush. Clean. What do you call this? Container. Inkwell. Clean water. Okay, we gotta get through. I'm determined to get through this panel. I think I have maybe, if I'm lucky, another hour. But I'm determined to finish this dude. So we will get there. He's really going to potty. No. That would have taken a little longer. But maybe I need to come up with some sort of potty video or figure something like that out. I know people do. They have videos that they play that give them enough time for a bathroom break. That wouldn't have been it. Intermission time. That's right. I need to come up with an intermission like they do on they did for like 2001. Play like some orchestra music. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll find some like classical music. Have some nice graphic going that says intermission. That'd be cool. Emo Trash says, I'm back on my computer where it's easier to type. Oh no. This music reminds of inflatable dinosaurs walking through a gallery. I need to charge my phone, so I'm watching on TV now. I'll be listening. Oh boy. She's doing the mark thing. Well, there should be closed captioning if I did it right. So that all works, I hope. All right, let's get this dude. This Joe Schmo here. Where to start? This is arguably going to be like starting with a clean line again, so to pick my spots. Gotta get to a point where I'm confident in just hitting the stroke on this line, just laying the line down, versus always doubling back over the line, almost like sketching it. I think I told you guys on one of the other pages I was inking, it's like, it makes my lines like hairy a little bit, which is not good. I gotta get more confident just putting down the line. I got that song stuck in my head. You trashed your house, just charcoal. I remember when I would work in charcoal in school. The particular floor that I lived on was kind of set up like a suite. And so guys were on one side of the suite, and you had like a common area and shared bathrooms. And then on the other side were the girls' suite, and they had a common area and shared bathrooms. And the guys' suite was always trashed and gross and dirty, with just because boys are like that oftentimes, they don't care. And also with like art stuff, charcoal drawings or whatever that you would take home. So I would often just walk to the other side to the girls' suite and just work there because it was always cleaner. But yeah, charcoal has a way of getting on everything. We would work in studios so long. We'd be like full day studios working on charcoal drawing, figure drawing, and you'd come back and it would just be in your hands, on your clothes, in your hair, and then it would be in your snot. Like you'd blow your nose and it would come out black. Couldn't have been healthy. Awesome one says, emo body slammed the house with charcoal. No, she moved furniture and the bird cage around to draw what I wanted. Despite everything, I'm pretty good at controlling the mess that comes from charcoal. Little soot spirits from Spirit. Oh, I love those guys. Those guys are awesome. Did I mention to you guys? I think I talked about it before. They did a stage version of Spirited Away. And yeah, they had like little puppets for those soot characters. They were awesome. That was fun. That was a fun production. Ah! It's horrible. Very complicated cast shadow here. I have no idea why it's so complicated. How big is this art piece body sized? Oh, for emo trash. Okay. I was like, Can't be bothered to pull it out of my portfolio. Pretty much 18 by 24. Only charcoal left is on my knee, but I've done enough scrubbing. My knee doesn't interact with surfaces. Bloody charcoal like Sin City art. Charcoal snot. This is bad. We'd get like X-Acto knife cuts with ink or nib injections because of the ink getting stabbed by your nib, and then you get a hot glue gun burns and charcoal snot. Couldn't have been good for us. All in the name of art. I should just stop avoiding it and get into this face while my brush is still nice point. Here's another ear. Another weird meatball ear. Mafia meatball ear. Well, I would say that this start to this page is what I was expecting. It was hard and challenging, and I wasn't not totally happy with the results here yet. But at least we started it. And know what we're up against here. Because there are some other panels that are even harder than this one. Ugh. Now that I finally put it down, my body suddenly remembered that I should probably feed myself. Yeah, I gotta feed myself too. I forgot. Mr. Monkey Boy says he feeds himself too often. I forgot about my lunch. I have not eaten lunch. Lack of feeding myself today seems to have leveled out my blood sugar, so maybe it's fine. Upon finally having a screen big enough to actually evaluate what you're doing, I fail to understand what you mean by meatball ears. They look fine to me. Yeah, they're just these kind of lumpy messes. I mean, ears are like that. But then when you abstract them or stylize them, it even looks more like a lumpy mess. I can't even imagine what this would look like on a big screen. That's kind of frightening. Oops. Oops. A little too thick. Everywhere I look, there are new hatch marks to be hatched. Hmm. I don't even know what some of these shadows are. What is that? Oh, this is the knot in the wood. The wall. Yeah, what meatball ears. Stereotypical starving artist here. It's just my laptop, Rocky. Though I could pull it up on the huge TV we got downstairs if you really want me to laugh out loud. No thanks. No thanks. That's a Mark's music obsession move. But we're going to respect that just because MMO's mom needs to see stuff. Boop, boop, boop. I got the door frame. Oh, is that part of the door frame? Maybe that's what that part is. There's arm here. I mean, I am moving faster on this third guy. I think I'm just like, I just gotta get this panel done and eat. So it's making me be a little bit more decisive than I was when I started this. Maybe that's the key. Gotta start hungry and give yourself a time limit. Stop noodling, just do it. Stop thinking about it. Then, oh yeah, how am I gonna do these? Gotta do these word balloons. I think I'm gonna do those with a pen. there. Wow, that's cool. That shadow turned out kind of cool. Well, now you've tempted me. Don't do it. What you're doing is better than what I just did anyway. Emo, project the stream on a massive wall to get really up close. Is your picture a blob, Emo? I think my charcoals might be most accurate drawings I've ever done. I love charcoal because similar to how I was describing to you guys, like working with color erase pencils and just like keeping it loose, charcoal forces you to not worry so much about the details and get caught up in the details, and you just got to capture the gesture and work on the tone and the value and the lighting and all that kind of stuff. Like, I love that about charcoal in particular, because most people that, at least when I started art school, most of the art supplies and the mediums that I worked in were like pretty safe and what you could get over the counter. Watercolors, colored pencil, and I wasn't really like a big like painter or sculptor, or pretty controlled, I'd say. And being forced to draw in charcoal and really live and breathe, literally breathe charcoal, you really had to like lose control a little bit and focus on other things than just like, oh, highly rendered detail. Wait, what happened here? Hit this line, then kind of screwed up this line. This. It's kind of getting there a little bit. That first panel. Scale is crazy. Scale in his head is wider. It's a little wider. I screwed that up. It's okay. Yeah, I think I'll draw. I'm gonna draw the word balloons using pen. And we'll call it. And then after I get off stream, I'll look at this stuff and try and correct everything that's bothering me. Okay, let's see. We used a brownish, almost paper bag paper for charcoals. Yeah, that's cool. Working with mid-tone paper was great. Use Conte crayon. Have you ever used Conte crayon, Emo Trash? You might like that. It's a little harder than charcoal. And they come in these like kind of burnt sienna or what do you call it? What's the term I'm thinking of? The geez Louise, whatever, brownish tones. But yeah, Conte crayon's really good. We used to have those. They have like you can put those in like a holder and draw with the holder, so you had like a long, almost like painting with a brush, but a long stick. Strathmore drawing pads. Some of them I did on tracing paper because I was poor. I like how smooth I can get gradients with the compressed charcoal, and that's about it. Yeah, you gotta get your fingers in there, blending, good stuff. Trying to draw the window. The best part of it is probably the curtains. Cool. Fold. Hey, what's up, Antoine Dennison? How you doing, man? Antoine was checking in yesterday on, was it X, I think, Antoine? Asking me, like, when are you inking? Holding me accountable. So here we are, almost done with this first panel. It was really hard. Most of my art is stuffed in a portfolio or some folder with only 2 paintings on my wall and an ink piece. Yeah, I still have like old charcoal drawings rolled up somewhere in my garage. The scene outside the window, we don't talk about it. OTC, he had to go to the black market art supplier to get the good stuff. My best art, if there ever was any, was street art and murals. Oh, wow. No kidding. You worked in spray paint, Mark? That's awesome. That's a whole art in of itself. I think, like, talk about lack of control. Like, spray paint art. I know there's all... I don't know how, like, complicated you got it with it, but I know there's all, like, special nibs. And, different kind of, yeah. Like, I guess nibs is the right term. Whatever. That they have just to get different results from the spray. And you have to layer it a certain way. Yeah, that's really complicated. There was a guy who was in my year at college, and he tried to do a lot of use spray painting for like our foundational classes. So when people were turning in paintings or like gouache paintings or whatever kind of drawings, charcoal drawings, he would use spray paint. It was always a mess. He didn't know what he was doing. He was actually the son of quite a famous architect. But yeah, he always tried to use spray paint in weird ways, as you can imagine, for art school, and it never quite worked out. But the most I've ever used spray paint was, I used to custom make my kids' costumes when they were younger for Halloween, and I really got into spray paint to, like, you know, create certain effects or paint effects or just paint their costumes, and it was really fun. But you had to get the proper masks, because kill yourself with that. I'd be spraying all the time and get headaches before I started using the proper masks with the filters. But yeah, spray paint's fun. That's cool. And then doing stuff in large scale, that's a different mindset. I've done a few more murals in my time, and it's really hard to design at that scale. but really fun too. Because you also are like, at least depending on the size of the murals, some people, you can't take it all in at once. You got to keep in mind the sections that people are looking, or the experience if they're walking through, whether it's like a hallway or a room and you've done a mural there, you have to like figure all that out. So yeah, I've done a few larger scale murals, but that's fun. Seen as a blonde looking for a place in the world only to find out she's dead. It was a tree and the street outside the front window of my house. Yeah, not as dramatic as what Awesome One just described. That's so cool, Mark. I love street art. Mark, did you get into like graffiti, like that kind of street art? Oh, I just found some more. Hatching I got to do. Because I know that's a whole thing, like graffiti art, stylization of that, lettering. It's beautiful when it's done well. They've got a bunch of, in the Mission District, where that one comic book shop that I have a video on called Mission Comics is in the Mission District. And they're famous for the murals and the walking murals that are all around that neighborhood. And they're beautiful. They're all different, done by different artists. But they have all tours that you can, walking tours that you can take just to see the different murals. And some of them are more focused on culture. Some of them are like graffiti style. Some of them are neighborhood stuff. All right, well, I'm almost done. That guy's head is way bigger than the original. Oh well. Live and learn. Hatch, 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 hatch. Oh, more hatching here. Tiny, 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 tiny. Here. Here. Hatching, hatching, hatching. Wow, this hatching is really bad. I gotta fix this nose later. There's some bad choices here in this nose. Meatball nose. That's not good. Yikes. That, then I'll cut back in with white here, hatching here, 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 here. I think we did it. This first panel, that took forever. Here we go, we're on our way. Oh my gosh, what is this? That nose needs some serious help. Cool. How about that? There we go. First panel. Katie says I did murals in my kids' rooms when they were little. Cute. But then it's like, when they get older, then it's like, Mom, I don't want this mural anymore of the unicorn. So yeah. It's tough. It's like I remember the year, I knew it was like the last year my son would want a costume. And it was kind of sad because I was like going all out on it. I think the last year he did a costume, I did, oh my gosh. Wow, my memory is just... because I got to eat lunch. It was the head dude in Star-Lord. Jeez Louise. I did Star-Lord, and I did him a whole mask, like the movie, and the mask would flip up like that. We did LED lights and stuff like that. Got him a whole jacket, costume, headphones like Star-Lord has, with the like 80s music playing on it, or 70s music. But I could tell it was like he was just on the cusp of like, yeah, I'm done with dressing up in your crazy costumes. So that was sad. Life goes on. Emo Trash says, I haven't, but Conte Crayon is going to be a requirement in one of these upcoming. Yeah, it's cool. Conte Crayon's nice because it's a lot more compact, like hard pressed than charcoal is. So it gives you can give you a more of a point, and you can even sharpen Conte. Like on people they'll buy like sandpaper and then tack it to their art board or their drawing board and then just sharpen the Conte on it when you draw. But it's really nice. Sepia. That was the color I was thinking of, sepia. But it's really, really nice, and I did a lot of figure drawing with Conte Crayon. It's a little different than charcoal, feels different than charcoal, but it's nice. It's great. So hopefully you enjoy that. Later, all comic shop calls. All right, see you later, Mr. Monkey Boy. Have fun at the comic shop. Hope you find some good stuff. Why was there no Wednesday stream? Yes, I was just telling him I was out of town. I was traveling back, Wednesday night. So where I was out of town, I didn't get to go to a comic book shop. We were really busy, had a lot of stuff to do. Then I went yesterday on Thursday thinking I would pick up some things, but I didn't pick up anything, actually. So no Wednesday comics this week, but I did do at the beginning of the stream, when I'm done, go back and watch the beginning. I did an unboxing of a book, Essential X-Men Volume 8, which was recommended by none other than American Discord, Shelby. Several months ago, he did a stream on it, and I loved it, so I picked it up myself, and that was my Wednesday comics for the week. My favorite and best was Large Chief Wahoo at the Cleveland Indians mascot back in these days. I did one that covered the width of a 2-lane road that people used to paint art on more. Wow, that's cool. Was that the cartoonier version of the Cleveland Indians, I think? Which they can't be the Cleveland Indians anymore, but whatever. That's cool. That's awesome, Mark. That's great. Hopefully you took pictures. Puppet streams for Wednesday. Wahoo! When doing murals, I graph the walls so that the proportions are identical to the preliminary art. Yes. In theory, yes. But I've always found that transfer, there's always something that goes wrong or something that's off measurement. You can get it pretty close, but then you have to improvise a little bit. And also, again, depending on the size of the mural, the viewing angle might affect proportions or how you have to scale stuff. So I saw there was one mural I designed. It was for a church, and there was one mural I designed where I just did the design digitally, and then they hired a professional mural painter, sign painter, to do it. And his process and it was pretty huge, and his process of transferring from my drawing to the wall was incredible. He used he taped up a printout, like a contour drawing printout of my design. And then he used this, it almost looked like a pizza cutter, but it had like spikes on it. And he would trace the lines and then dust it with charcoal. Speaking of charcoal, he would dust it, and that dust would go into the holes that he created by the tool, whatever the spike tool was. And then when he took the paper off, you could see the lines, and then he would hand paint it. It was amazing. It was like this amazing technique. And he in particular does a lot of hand painted signs in the city. So he'll do like gold leafing or hand painted signs for businesses. So there's a whole art to it. And it was incredible just to watch his process, because I was like, I'm just going to design this. But he had a whole process of like transferring it and painting it. And then he didn't use any tools. He just freehanded it, but it was beautiful. His execution was beautiful. Is your art in the Cleveland Indians movie with Charlie Sheen? The This page will be finished by 2025. It might. Do another. I can't. I gotta eat and get to the rest of the day. I can't do. I don't know how. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 more stream. Nah, I will try and do 2 panels at once. I might have to do some panels off stream. I don't know, but that took me 1 stream to do this panel. It's hard, man. It's really hard, and I'm not even happy with it 100%, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We knew this was going to be difficult. This one's a challenging one. Will Eisner. And I'm not even done. I still have to do the white cut. Oh, man. I'm not even done. Depressing. I never scaled anything. I just went for it and somehow managed well. I got that from my mother, I guess. She was a great painter. Awesome. Aw. Mark's music obsessions mom. Her legacy continues on. 1 panel down, several more to go. I missed most of the first one. So you're going to use whiteout for the... Yes, I am. I'll do that. I'll save that. I might save that for the very, very end of it all. I don't think I'm going to do that right now. I don't have a steady enough hand to like cut into what I just did. But I will do that on stream for sure. I won't just magically appear, because that's going to be a whole other process of figuring out how to do that right. And am I going to use my Winsor Newton brush for the white? I've been using a different brush. Decisions. Oh, I missed some hatching here. I'll fix that up later. Nice. I work for them as both the Indians and the Guardians. You work for the Cleveland Indians and... Oh, are you doing sports management for the Cleveland Guardians? Timmy Mello. We got to talk, man. That's awesome. That is awesome. Really fun. Indians combined to form Guardians. Go. That process was originated by Michelangelo, I believe, when he did the Sistine. Yes. Probably some old technique that has never been perfected. Because I thought he was going to do, something like measuring it out or gridding out. No, he just did this like, and it turned out beautifully. So I think the thing that blew me away the most was he didn't use any tools. Not even like, and some of my design had circles in it. Didn't even use circle templates, just like free-handed it. And you wouldn't even know. It was amazing. I missed the old Chief Wahoo logo, but with how culture is, I understood the name change. Yep, still, I can't wait for the playoffs to start. Oh my gosh, Timmy Mello. This is a side of you that I'm going to have to tap into next time. It's awesome. All right, well, you guys, this was great. It was great to kind of break this in on stream, get it over with, get the fear over with, and get into it. Now I know what to expect. Now I know the pain. My son recently had to get a shot, and it ended up he couldn't get the shot on the day he thought he was gonna. Had to wait another day, and all the anticipation building up to when he was supposed to get it, then he couldn't get it, was like, totally playing with his mind the whole day. And I feel like this was kind of it for me for this page. The anticipation of like, I gotta do this page. We've now hit the ground running. We know what to expect. Yes, it's going to be difficult. It is going to hurt, but it's going to be great. And we've gotten started. So I'm not quite sure when I will stream again next, but hopefully I'll start getting back into my whatever regular schedule of streaming is now that we're back home. And that will include, obviously, these master studies. So hopefully, maybe I'll get another stream in before... I mean, not before, but by the weekend. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe Monday? We'll see. You guys will be first to know. Because you have liked and subscribed and turned on the notifications for the stream. And even though none of those things work, you guys will be the first to know. So, thanks everybody who has been here. Wahoo! Have a great weekend, everyone. Shanth doesn't count as first. He does. He does. He was first in chat. He's just not last in chat. But thanks, everybody, for being here. Tell your friends. Like, subscribe. I so appreciate you being here and coming alongside me and watching me try and ink this crazy thing. It's been fun. I will catch you again soon. Have a great weekend. See you later.